Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with probably the best Terran player in the history of the game in the blue. It's Team Liquid's Clem. But he's up against probably the only Zerg player who can actually keep up with him, the Italian Stallion. It's Reynor. A best of 5 Terran versus Zerg showdown, where Reynor's 600 plus APM Zerg will go up against both the quality and the quantity of Clem's aggression. And speaking of quality and quantity, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button. And maybe even subscribe. And Jimmy, what are we at? One more than yesterday. 1,397 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and I certainly hope it's about to get just a little bit better. The drone snuck off to the corner. Clem tried to block the base, but the moment the SCV leaves, in its typical short-sightedness, is when he slips in. A bit of a bamboozle to start, but Clem, not to be outdone, has 3CC back at home. A relatively typical macro start. At least he's not building it on the low ground. But is that a second factory? What? Well, Clem taking us to McDonald's in game number 1. Now, I don't think it's going to be the classic Big Mech style of just turtling to siege tanks and Thors and all those fancy things you see more often on Bronze League Heroes or box art than you do in a more high-speed game. The Marine in position to box out any Overlords that try to get in, though Reynor just has the one on the pervert pillar at the front. Doesn't look like he's intent on scouting early. You know, you kind of think you know what Clem is doing. He's going to go Marines, he's going to go Medevacs, he's going to micro them better than literally anyone else. But not this time. A second factory on the way. More than half of Clem and Reynor's lives ago, early Wings of Liberty, the 2 factory openers were a pretty typical surprise, gotcha, blue flame Hellions in your base sort of strategy. But now the Queens have significantly longer range on those knitting needles. The creep spreads faster. Generally, the economies are higher. And this is going to be Cyclones with the, what to say, it's called Hurricane Thrusters engine, something. Cyclone speed upgrade is what that is. So the Cyclones can get across the map. Not the greatest unit against Zerg most of the time, but if you're reliant entirely on a queen-based defense, the Cyclones can isolate them, lock them down, and knock them out. So even with Zerglings having that many Hellions behind is going to make it difficult for the Zerglings to really get the surround and block the damage nearly as well as they'd like. So Reynor not going for a Roach Warren, not that Roaches are particularly great in this scenario either until they get their speed. There's nothing that's really amazing against Cyclone Hellion, but the downside of going for the Hellclone Battle Mech style is it's also quite expensive. The startup cost in order to get the factories, but it doesn't look like we're staying at McDonald's, but instead more of a bio-curious play here. As 2 more barracks. That fact that he didn't quite get up the ramp to see the barracks. And even if he did, it wouldn't be much of a giveaway. I don't think there's too many tells here that Clem is going for the mass Cyclone play, but instead just maybe a Medevac timing from Reynor's perspective. He's making the Zerglings now. We're 5.5 minutes in. That's right around the time a 3-2-1-1 Medevac sort of setup would come out. But he sees the Cyclones with the Overlords. And now, well, we will see. Haven't seen an attack like this for quite a while since the Cyclones got readjusted again. But here we go. The Cyclones wrap around. They actually supply block Reynor with that first Overlord. The Queens getting poked and prodded so far, but enough Zerglings in front, they eat the lock-ons. Is Clem still auto-casting it? Even Clem is auto-casting that lock-on. More Zerglings coming in. I think he's just trying to absorb the lock-on so the Queens don't have to deal with it. They're taking such a pounding. Those Queens, well, they know what they're good at. And a counterattack with Zerglings gets 6 SCVs, undercutting some of the momentum being gained here by the Hellclones. As the Queens go back, the Cyclones go forth. And more of them starting to fall. Zerglings wrapping around yet again. Goes through the trees. Vision blocker for a moment. Neither side able to see the other side of it easily. Another queen down. The Frenchman specializing in assassinating them. So now, he does have vision. The Zerglings coming around. More Hellions coming up to support. There's already 1-1 on the way on the other side. Reynor keeping his economy. Actually added a few more drones. The queen count is dwindling precipitously here. The monarchy at risk of going extinct, but where's the banelings? 2 more banelings on the way. The Zerglings looking for the wrapper. Marines have joined the fray. The Zerglings get behind everything. And the queens, get off my queen! Friend, simmer down. The ritual sacrifice for the Zerglings. For the Widowmine, rather. And the key part of this is now that he has the 2 factories, he can smoothly transition into a stronger biocomposition. We've already got Widowmines and Siege Tanks on the way. The double factory trouble past the Hell Clones. And Bob, Bob. Somebody call a medevac. No. Double NG Bay at the back. The one downside of this seems to be that there's only 1 tech lab early. So no combat shield. In fact, no combat shield on the way at all. That's actually a mistake out of Clem that he's fixing right now as he starts it immediately. But 1-1 is in production, or completed for Clem, rather. Ridiculously fast. +1 Carapace behind it. Remember, Clem went for double factor, and he still got the 1-1 quicker than Reynor. And even without the combat shield, those banelings off a creep are just target practice for Clem. They're not actually going to find any real connections, especially if Clem only has one thing to focus on. That's like warm-up for him. Overlord speed is done. Hydra speed is on the way, but it's just Lings and Banes right now. Is there an infestation pit? No. He's looking to match him on the field. And creep as much of that field as he can. Reynor up to 87 drones. Quite a hefty number. That will serve him all the way into the late game. And he's working his way there. The infestation pit is on the way. The Zerglings looking to overrun the Marines, but so far, the Marine count is still too damn high. Reynor still has a lot of opportunity for counterattacks. Clem does not have a 4th, so he's still in a bit of a tenuous position economically, especially with these reinforcements getting cut off. A great counter here by Reynor. We don't mind. Oh no! From downtown. Slams into it. But Zerglings try to trigger the mines on the back. Banelings rolling through. Siege Tank doesn't find the target fire. The Widowmine's burrowing yet again, trying to draw the shots. Retargeting. Transfuse saves the queen. And Reynor actually ends up in a 15 supply lead after that exchange. Another medevac is loaded up, but Reynor solidifies his position. He held his ground. He didn't lose any of his economy. He's working on a hive, a lurker den. He's got 2-2 on the way. Clem's production is still at full throttle. He has 69 SCVs, which is the basis of a very nice Terran economy to start. But a single counterattack could heavily cut into his potential income. Though somehow Reynor's actually caught up and nearly surpassed Clem on those upgrades. So doing a very good job of solidifying his position. The Widowmines, though, will burrow, get big hits, drop up to the north side, takes out one of the hatcheries. It looks like he actually got a cancel. And now Reynor retreats back across the map. He has to deal with drops on either side. The double-double. As Marines on the left, drops on the right. Zerglings trying to be sacrificed. Widowmines are triggered, though he's not able to drag them in and do too much damage. Does he have group spines? He doesn't have Hydra range, which is not really the difference maker at this exact moment, but definitely something that he'll want to rectify by the end of this. Hive is halfway there. Still a drop to the north side. Clem trying to get the damage done, but Reynor is holding on to his 5 bases strongly. He's making more and more drones. He's already at 88 of them and counting. The queens will drive it back. The creep is starting to push as well. There's not enough banelings here to deal with this. Clem joins up with another army. And now there's about 40 supply of bio bearing down on Reynor's 4th base. And here comes the Hydras, the Lings, the Banes, trying to scatter through, deal with the Widowmines. No more Widowmines means that the Hydras can chase, and Clem can't stand his ground here. That's too many Hydra, Lings, and Banes, and even the Queens are trying to get involved. But that's a bit optimistic. Target fire is very good. Oh my. Oh, wow. Well, making it look not easy, but certainly plausible. Another mine. Take it out, but it's parting shot. There's still so many more. The banelings rolling in. The hydras have chased them to the ends of the earth. More widow mines. A few hydras got distracted, but Reynor's chasing them down. The orbital itself is under fire. The chase continues. He's onto the natural, but now ghosts are on the field. 6 SCVs, 11 SCVs dead. The siege tank is also doing damage to the Terrans. Counterattack, going to hit the 9 o'clock base, and there's not enough reinforcements. The queens are on the other side. There's no anti-air to help deal with the medevacs right now. Just one Hydra is helping out so much. And without that Hydra, I don't know if we could have broken that amount of Marines. 92 to 65 workers. Most of the damage is happening on Clem's side of the map. And the fact is that while Clem even if Clem doesn't take a ton of economic damage, if he's pushed back like this, Reynor has time to recover. And Reynor actually has something of a momentum advantage when it comes to tech. Because while there's a couple ghosts on the field, Reynor's now building lurkers. And 2 ghosts are not going to be enough to deal with this. But again, the queens are getting chased down. Snipes coming out. Enough hydras, lings, and banes. The lurker counter coming in. A small breather before we go again. And now it's ended. The lurker's going to hit the 3rd base. The queens. The entire base is an abandoned ship. Dunks the lurkers down. But the medevacs are caught. 1 taken down, others badly bruised. 3-3 on the way. Widowmine takes a bite, knocks out a Hydra. Lurkers dunked down. Adaptive Talon's now done. He's trying to get the full surround, but that's so many lurkers. Oh my, the 360-degree surround just cuts apart the lurker count. And down they go, even further, from the ground into the units lost tab. Adrenal glands on the way. Oh, Reynor forgot adrenal glands. If I had $1 for every game that somebody accidentally or intentionally delayed adrenal gland, well, not intentionally. For every game that a Zerg didn't get adrenal glands in a timely manner, I would have a lot of dollars. All right, it'd be a decent amount of dollars. All right, enough dollars to at least put in a Patreon. So there, got it. Really tied it all together. Please clap and subscribe. Lurkers continue production. Reynor still has a good economy, but Clem is stabilizing, and he's getting the ghosts. And that's when things get scary. All right. Cloak is on the way. The lurker count at 8. The Zergling count at 104. The Widow Mines will burrow, but he gets it just before it fires off. Trying to surround this army, but they'll expect some of us in the wreckage. Not everyone is able to make it. The lurkers are burrowed. Oh no! A couple of them are, but the vast majority are not. Coming in, splitting, drawing the shots out. It's so hard to actually micro the lurkers once the stims are already happening. Then Reynor dipping in supply. Clem still at 200. He took a few hits, but the war seems to be going heavily in his direction now. The banelings are closing in. He targeted down the spore crawler, so that way he wouldn't lose any more medevacs before picking up and getting out. And Clem maintaining 200 supply, starting to bank up, adding in more and more and more ghosts into that composition. It's getting harder to see Reynor actually breaking the army. Down goes another one. Nydus into the main. Is there a siege tank? No, but a few Marines are coming out. Trying to chase it down. Banelings connect. Get some of the bio army, most of it able to evacuate. But Zerglings on the SCVs. Clem down to 60 SCVs. Surprisingly low. Loses 16 here. Widowmines take massive bites. Reynor now lost 500 Zerglings in 15 minutes. Fusion cores on the way, but I seriously doubt that's for battle cruisers. Advanced ballistics or Caduceus reactor make a lot of sense at this stage of the game, but the aggression will continue. Units lost. Reynor's lost 50% more, but there's still a lot of minerals on the map. A Nydus just slapped out at the 3rd base. Unfortunately, a siege tank remains on the high ground. How many kills does that tank have? Just 11? There's no way that's the first siege tank that was up there. Not after all this, but the Lings and Banes trying to chase down again. Widowmine triggers. Massive splash in the minefield. Continues to just chunk through the Zergling count. He's lost so many to it. A changeling in the main. keeps providing vision. Clem didn't deal with it, and that one Nydus, if he's able to get lurkers into the production, that could change. No, that's gonna be a no. No, don't do it. 2 Liberators covering it. Advanced ballistics on the way for said Liberators. The Zerglings still going. Down goes a medevac, but 3 of them pick up and head towards the main. Reynor starting to be pushed back. The creep spread has not managed. Ooh, parasitic bomb. I was wondering if there were any Vipers. 2 Vipers on the field. Another Nydus attempted. The Marines, well, more Widow Mines taking chunks. And the Banelings offers up some sacrifices and deals with the rest. But the Lurkers made it into the main. Now a Liberator will siege up. Siege tank and Liberators, the 2 flavors of them. Advanced ballistics about to complete. Not that it's relevant in the main base against Lurkers. 4 Liberators at a time. Reynor expanding to the gold. Advanced ballistics done, and now there's no real answer to the Liberators on this mineral line. The single go siege tank, Widow Mine, but the SCVs will die as well. Reynor taking massive hits. They're fighting over the base. He takes it out. Oh, but the fungal big hit. The drones. The drones are also here. The drones pulled off the line because the Liberators have essentially annexed the base. There's nothing to easily deal with them. Parasitic bomb does not stack. He can deal with it with them ducked, but he still hasn't actually taken out these Liberators, and it's taking so long to deal with this. How many queens are left? Just 4. 11 of them have been killed. Oh no. Gonna try to take another base, but of course there's a Widow Mine there. Does he notice it? Does it matter? He's sending another drone. Well, this is... And I think it's in position to actually block it. And the Liberator count is so damn high. Reynor has flamed out as now 150 supply. He's slowly dealing with the minefield in the center of the map. But he's lost 14,000 more resources. 630 Zerglings in there. So many Lurkers and Hydras. Clem, once he's taken a base, he's barely been pushed out of the way. And he's just comfortably, well, okay, not comfortably, but decisively expanding now to the gold base. A big Lurker counter running into the Liberation Zone. There's no real answer to these Liberators at all. Hydras, not enough. Clem takes game 1. A tenuous game showing Reynor can keep up. But can he overtake him? And kind of crazy, starting that off with a early mech build, and then smoothly, oh so smoothly, turning it into your more standard Marine, Medevac, Mine, Marauder. And those 2 factories paying off as well, getting the siege tank and then, of course, mass Widow Mine aggression against Reynor's just unlimited Zerglings. Having that at all is certainly helpful. And that means Clem off to a 1-0 victory. 1-0 lead going into Ghost River. Inauspicious map to fight against Terrans, just based on the name, but... Yes, the level of speed we expect from these 2. Just constantly hammering, and that's usually how it goes. They just keep smacking into each other. Probably could phrase that better, but just unloading everything. Still. Are we not doing phrasing? I don't know. The slugfest continues until one player just simply has nothing left. And Reynor there, at 200 supply, throwing units at Clem right up until he plummeted under 150 and just had no more income. I think he has to knock out the 4th base. The 4th base is the focal point for Terran. If they're able to get a 4th base, the same as it is for Zerg, but a little bit later on in the game. If you're able to get a 4th base as Terran early, you're easily able to get both, get your main bio army out, and just continue producing Marines and Medevacs, and also get that late game tech. Get maybe a Ghost Academy, get those extra barracks, possibly another starport, though that's a little more rare. So that 4th base not really being challenged makes it very difficult for this kind of swarmy style of Zerg to really find much success. Eventually, Clem will have the army to deal with it, and it just doesn't age very well. In the case of Banelings, rarely at all. So... we'll see. I doubt we'll see that double factory style again. I mean, we'll very likely see double factory, but will we see the double factory opener? That feels like one of those you break out in game 1. It either works or it doesn't, but now it's in the back of their mind. Or maybe the front, depending. Somewhere in the middle. I've really covered all the options. We didn't need to go this far into this topic, but knowing that it could be that Cyclone Hellion, and well, the Queens and the Lings handled it just fine, but it still was a struggle to really... All right. It is a much quicker Zergling speed out of Reynor. He may actually be able to chase down the Reaper, especially since it doesn't... Are we really going to play ring around the... What is that? Graveyard? The chain link fence graveyard? Never actually looked. I guess that's part of the Ghost River bit. Whatever's going on there. It does have like an ethereal feel to it. Oh, are we doing a sort of Hades thing? The river Styx over here, full of ghosts. All these games are full of ghosts. Banshees with cloak. But it looks like a German taxi build out of Reynor. Here, it's so hard to get a third base. He's already got the lair done. The Zerglings are in place. He's got the Hellions to cover. He wants to scout. Oh my, the duel continues. It's so clear that he's trying to sneak... He's trying to sneak in and get the damage done, and Reynor is obviously trying to stop him, but what is happening? 3 Overlord drops. 3 Dropper Lords loaded up. Is it just going to be the Mass Lings, or is he going to wait for the... Susan! Lucille, where... Lucille, come on! We're leaving! Quickly! No, you can't inject. Inject before we leave. The Dropper Lord's coming in. And gets the surround on the Hellions. Best case scenario, right as this comes across the map. The Banshee, but the Dropper Lords are chasing him into the main. Operation Overlord going to land on the beaches of the Frenchmen. And now, well, the Queens. Oh my. The Zerglings inside. This is best case scenario. He's just turning one of these into an Overseer. Transfuse at the last second. Saves the day. The door was open. The SCV's trying to escape. The Queens are dodging Banshee. How do you like it, Terran? He's dodging Banshee hits to an extent with the Dropper Lords. Takes out another one. One of the Queens get roasted. And the Zerglings, he's hold position, or he's right-clicking constantly on that mineral line to minimize the surface area. But it doesn't matter. Reynor just Zergs him down. Wow. Reynor overruns him in his own main. Well, that is certainly one way to prevent the Terran from getting a 4th base. Well, an incredibly well-executed Queen drop directly in Clem's base. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to retreat to. And Reynor steals away game 2 in a decisive fashion. Wow. All right. Well, now we're all tied up. And now he's going to be thinking about that. Huh. Is he going to go 2 Rags Reaper? Kind of a rarity throughout this tournament, but the 2 Rags Reaper, he's on the right side of the map, which in this case is the right side of the map, where the add-ons are not exposed. If he wants to transition into, you know, mass marines or something like that, which is almost certainly where this will end up headed. It is a hatch first. And Reynor even went pool first with a quick lair, intentionally to get that drop out as quick as possible. That's the kind of build that's only going to work once a series. But it's very good for Reynor. It did, obviously. Is that? Well, I don't know if he messed up the barracks placement or... Usually you can wall off with 2 barracks and a depot, but... That looks off, but I think it's fine. And also, if we're in a scenario where that depot is exposed, there are probably bigger problems overall. So 2 racks, the 3 per opener. Now, will he actually stop at 3 or does he continue production? Gonna poke and prod. More workplace harassment for the drones. And almost able to jam them in, but... Oh my. Reaper at 1 HP. Or 3 HP. Either way, 1 queen or zergling hit. Effectively 1. 2 CCs on the way. Reynor not even trying for a 3rd here. He didn't take down the mineral wall, and that's part of why the Reaper went so deep early. Well, it's 4 of them, and they're still going. Zergling speed a long way off. As Reynor went for the greedier up. This is a message from the Hatchery Owners Association, the HOA. Could you get the fuck out of here? You got... Brenda, we're gonna get demonetized. Shut up. But I know. Keep it on the inside. Sorry, I backed out for a moment. The drone sneaks around, but the Reaper's already on top of it. With 4 Reapers, he can work his way through even while the hatchery... Oh, God. Well, he tries again. This time around, even with the queens. Tough opener. Nothing, no chauffeur to fly him around. The queen's having a tough go of it. Zergling speed finally done. Reynor, I assume, wanted a quick 3rd based on the delayed gas, but instead ends up getting a delayed 3rd and no Zerglings with speed. Runs across the map. I don't know if he knows where the Reapers are, if he's deliberately trying to avoid them here. But, yeah, those atoms not exposed. And now the Reapers are in the main. He saw the Zerglings on the other side. Evolution chamber to wall off and buy a few more seconds. And that might be all the time the Zerglings need. Looking to intercept the Reapers. They go back into the main. Damned if you do. And, well, actually, they're still going to find kills because of... Well, down goes 1. The Evo chambers. 3 Reapers still running the entirety of the Zerg army around. And none of the queens. But, finally, 5 minutes in, the Reapers will die. Reynor finally able to head across the map without getting stabbed directly in the back by the Reapers. God, they're so annoying. Cook Banshee's on the way. And he's actually holding on to the Banshees. I think waiting for both. So we can possibly maximize the damage with Cloak. Banshee's heading out. Or at least the first one. Double engineering bay, double Evo chambers started, but Clem should have a slight advantage on those upgrades. 5 roaches on the way. It is going to be roaches, at least early on this time around. We'll see how long he ends up continuing down that. Oh no. The delayed Banshee is sometimes more effective than rushing it out. Waits for the cloak and he gets... Oh my god, he transfused the drone. There were no spore... In fact, well, 1 spore crawler is scampering up. Just glides past it. Perfect micro, of course. 5 drones killed. And there's another Banshee at the 3rd. So it's not getting any easier here. Finally, a layer is done, but... And the Overseer... Is it enough? They fly, and there's rocks on both sides. God. Well, This has certainly not been an ideal start for a Zerg player. And remember that this is not the end of it. Finally, gets one of the Banshees. The other one heads home. Clem now has, and now the real game begins. That was just the appetizer. Clem serving up some drone kills, but now there's going to be double medevac with soon to be 1-1 against an inferior upgraded Zerg with minimal creep spread, who does not have much of an economy to speak of, at least not any better than Clem's. 66 drones, but he's supply blocked off, losing that one Overlord, bringing just enough Marines in order to load into those medevacs, but gonna clear up all the creep tumors. Was even trying to get that Overlord too, but just settles for the tumors. The scan spots the infestation pit timing. Everything breaking Clem's way this game so far. Like... And the Spore Crawler targeted down the head. Oh my god, it's dying so fast. And that's before he has the weapons upgrades. He picks up, he dodges away. Exactly enough Marines left over to load up the medevacs. The main base, he'll be able to zone out, but he loses the fourth. Clem already has his fourth command center on the way. This is a series of incredibly unfortunate events, adding up to something of a disaster for Reynor. He really needs to find a decisive fight before Clem's able to establish a fourth. Otherwise, he's just praying that Clem fights into the worst possible angle. But I don't know if there are any bad angles right now. Especially with those upgrades. Like, chasing down medevacs on this map is not an easy task. Just now getting a Hydra Den. Marines driven back. Clem darts up to the high ground. There's no vision. There's a roach over here, but siege tanks back at home. He's got 2 factories done with tech labs. The queens will politely yet firmly drive the medevacs away. And Reynor, he's keeping up on supply. He has Roach Ravager. If Clem underestimates this army, he very well could find himself without a critical mass of units. That is the big risk. This is a sledgehammer of a Zerg army. And it's very easy to really underestimate the strength it has when swung wildly. Now throwing the corrosive bows up, the Marines just stutter stepping forward, gunning down dozens of roaches. And the siege tanks underneath this base, and the drop in the main. He's tearing him apart. From start to finish. Well, it's not over yet. But from start to now, this... Oh, God. He takes out the third. Unchallenged. The drops in the main are not taken out. They're just forced to pick up. Lurkers. Just pulls back. The drop. 1 medevac taken down. The siege tanks. Whoop. Dodges away at the last second. The Overlords even. Oh no, and he's gonna be supply blocked. Just, cannot catch a break. It's going from bad to worse. The roaches at the back, the best possible fight here. 2-2 just finished for Clem, but the siege tanks are dead. And Clem will be forced to pick up and retreat to what is now a 4th base. Does he have a planetary? He already does. Another queen, and another one. That last Marine, forcing the queens to chase it down. Finally. But wait, there's more. Another round. Round and round he goes. Another hatchery targeted. Dodges away from the biles. Gets the base. Gets up. And gets out. Reynor, all he has going for him are the lurkers and his overall supply. He has an army that's kind of hard to deal with directly. And Clem, oh, never mind. Clem has ghosts in production. I was about to say Clem has no ghosts, but that is a lie. Even the Banshee, oh come on. At least the Carapace upgrades save him from the two-shot, but the fact we have to, like, he's dealing with a Banshee. We are 12 minutes in. The Banshees were supposed to be done like half the game ago, but here we are. Even the rocks are rolling in the face of Clem. And the siege tanks outrange the lurkers even when they have those seismic spines. Siege tanks, ghosts, the queens. Susan, run! Wow, the firing squad, the concave, the lurkers are cut down. Counterattack out of Reynor with all of his roaches and ravagers. On the other side of the map, trying to cut off the reinforcements. A Hail Mary. He needs several of them now. But this army will not be stopped. It will rule this game or see it burnt to ashes before him. The roaches are killing a lot of SCVs, but Reynor's down to 2.5 bases. He has one of those outlying ones. Ah, the lurker's dumped down, but he's on the main base ramp. There goes the lurker den. GG Clem putting on a clinic from start to finish, keeping the aggression on with the Reapers, following it up with the Banshees, and then finishing it off with the Marines and the siege tanks. An incredibly well executed game from start to finish as Clem takes the lead right back. That brings us to game 4 on Oceanborn. God, at no point did it look like Clem... He didn't lose any momentum. Not even just lost confidence, but it just kept coming. And that's the struggle with Zerg. You know, even if you deal with this, it's the next thing that's going to be the problem. And that doesn't end unless you are actually able to do some counter damage. So we'll see if he can slow it down here. But so far, even though Reynor's kept up, it's still been Clem in the lead every time he's had an opportunity to get there. Reynor with a 2-base queen drop all in. Not the most reliable best of 5 series strategy, but definitely good for one game. We'll see if he can come up with something again. Spawning pool. The huge. Clem. Standard 1 Rax expand. Not going for the Reapers. He's on the left side of the map this time. So. Such a different style than Cyril as well. Like, Cyril with the much more measured sort of timings. Here, Reynor's still really struggling to deal with Clem's aggression, but willing to try to match it as well. Just throwing units out here. Unfortunately, Clem usually has enough units in position to deal with it. But Reynor is willing to risk it, to potentially butter his biscuit, but Clem just looking unbreakable once he gets that army composition together. Going to block the third. The dual purpose of scouting whether it's a pull first and potentially delaying or at least making it very difficult to take that third base. And while you can expand to that northern side, it is far preferable to take the platform base, the triangle base. It's easier to reinforce. It helps block your main from drops, especially if you take a fourth. It's generally safer against tank pushes. It's the preferred base for a reason. Though it's not too far away to take that other one. Gets a Zergling. Well, gets 2 Zerglings. 3 CC for Clem. Did he actually... Is that 2? He just built 2 Reapers? Wow. The madman. And then he just lost 1. Well, he's back to 1. Well, that was a mistake. I don't... He's like, well, I meant to build 1, so that actually is just making the build correct. Sure. Classic. I wasn't even trying, bro. Queens. A Zergling speed's done. Clem mistiming it a little. This is both Reapers. A bit small mistake, but those can add up. I mean, I'll take it. If I'm Reynor, I'll take anything at this point. Those little things are a start. He's not going for any sort of crazy all-in. Instead, it's just a full-on 3-base macro. No other tech on the way yet. Just now heading back into gas. So it's just going to be Zerglings and Queens to deal with your Hellions and Banshees. Two Hellions show up, but the Queens will make sure that they don't get any closer, at least for now. Overlord glides in menacingly as something with so many tentacles can be. I guess it could be pretty menacing. All right, depends on your tentacle feelings, but save that for Dronely fans. A layer on the way will be the first choice as a potential detection for the Banshees, and just generally unlocking Baneling speed is usually it. There we go. Baneling nest on the way. And the Queens. Well, here we go again. Sir, please, ma'am. Well, whatever. Hellions getting cornered. The Queens driving them out. Maybe get 1 or 2 drones. Meanwhile, the Queens are getting bullied by the Banshee, but gets back onto the creep just in time. Oh, what a save. But where's the detect? Oh, the lair isn't done yet. Draining a lot of energy with just this one Banshee. But wait, there's more. A second Banshee comes in. And, well, missed the transfuse there. Unfortunate, but so far, keeping most of the drones intact. In fact, hasn't lost a single drone. So, Reynor off to as strong a start as you can expect against this level of Terran. In fact, killing the Hellions means the creep spread is starting to compound dramatically. He's already got it halfway across that. We're 6.5 minutes in. The creep is quickly moving towards the halfway mark of the map. The medevacs will be out in about 30 seconds, but the gap between those Hellions being on the field and the medevacs coming out is quite large here and is giving Reynor a lot of space. He's up to 80 drones. Does he have Baneling speed done? No, he didn't start Baneling speed. That's actually a mistake. There's no reason, yeah. There's no reason to delay Baneling speed, especially when you have the money. And apologies, I think I have something, I might have something of a cold right now. Which, I mean winter, right? But, which is surprising because I don't go outside, but, well, I thought about going outside the other day. That might have been it. But hopefully not too noticeable until I unneededly draw attention to it. Infestation pit on the way. The only thing I'm sick of are these games. Wait, no. These games are so sick. Something. There's a good Jimmy, edit that out. The whole thing. Just the whole bit. Hydra's den. On the way. The Banelings? Oof. Marines just darting down, and so it begins. He doesn't have combat shield, which means he is going to have to retreat back into the corner and possibly into the medevacs. There we go. Widowmine drawn out. 1-1 on the way. Well, about to complete for Reynor. Already +2/+2 started for Clem. Though still quite a ways off. Double Lurker Den. A bold move. But it could work out. Clem has not been able to get a lot of pressure going here. He has not been able to keep Reynor nearly as far down as you would hope as a Terran at this stage of the game. So there is a significant opportunity, especially since Clem is only just now taking his 4th, and Reynor's already going on 5 bases. For Reynor to hit a decisive lurker timing and just use it to either get way ahead or even win the game. There are no ghosts. There's Widow Mines, which are not particularly great against lurkers. Good luck closing the distance. But Clem does still have a 20 supply advantage. So that is a lot of potential pressure. Cool. The Widow Mines drawn in. Loses some extra Marines with it. Hydra's on the way. Lurker range and the Lurker burrow speed. Adaptive talents as well. So doubling up on those upgrades. Not a huge investment to get 2 Lurker dens, but there's literally no other purpose but to get these upgrades so quickly to potentially overrun and surprise Clem. I think it's actually quite a smart call here. Lings and Banes, scattering, Widow Mines, mediocre hits. Reynor catching up. He has 89 drones, so a very good economy overall. And he's held on to his bases, something that has not been consistent throughout this series. Double drop, headed towards the main. 8 lurkers on the way, and they're going to have both hive tech upgrades simultaneously. Double Nydus network. All right, the Noah's Ark of builds here. 2 of everything. That Widow Mine barely taken out. Still so many mines on the field. The double lurker den. He built them right next to each other. I wonder if Clem's wondering if it's a mistake. Does he have a ghost academy at all? No, with no ghosts on the way, but God, the lurker den and the Marines just jammed into the corner. The lurker den's providing a wall off for him. But the double Nydus in production. Reynor is maxed out, though supply blocked added amusingly. The Lings and Banes trying to close the distance onto this bio army, but the medevacs up against the corner, he picks up. And are there any Vipers? No Vipers for Parasitic Bomb, unfortunately. Oh no, the Widow Mine. It's dead now, but the lurkers! He drops out onto it. The lurkers eviscerating half the army. The other half looking to chase it down. What am I watching? He's dodging lurker hits with the medevacs, but speaking of medevacs, 2 taken down. And Clem losing momentum here for maybe the first time in any of the games of this series that didn't involve Queens dropping in his base. Reynor has leveraged those lurkers into some serious map control. There's still a Banshee, but Hydra's, I like the cloak. Nydus at the back, and there are 2 Nydus networks. He can start another worm. And at the front, the Banelings taking out the Widow Mines before they can fire a huge Widow Mine hit at the ramp. And now more Lings and Banes. Ghosts are on the field, but they gotta chase it down. 16 SCVs dead. The Zerglings and Banelings are on the mineral line. The Marauders chunking through. Nydus network is taken out. Another Nydus. He's just popping Nyduses up on every side of the map. Finds another one. No sensor tower here. He just was chasing down the army. How many medevacs are left? 7. Still more than enough. Vipers on the way. More command centers. Clem is starting to stabilize. Those changelings gunned down. Things slow down just a bit. Is there burrow? No opportunity for Baneling Mines. And with scans left, right, and center, I don't think it's going to be a likelihood. Planetary Fortress on the way. Has to retreat with the SCVs. Clem has rebounded back up to 70-something. So, another Nydus. Nydus on both sides. Clem probably not expecting it. Sending more units back, but with the Nyduses, and while they're not cheap, you can still maintain the pressure. He has to bring units back, because if even one of these gets through, and 10 lurkers pop out, or however many lurkers he has, 8 of them, then it could be the end of your production or most of your economy. So he has to respect the Nyduses, and that's keeping Clem busy. The Marines get a cancel on one of the bases. He chases it down. The main base Nydus is taken out. The lurkers, I think, are still inside it. There's 100 Zerglings on the field. Burrow on the way. +3 Carapace. Clem has maxed out. He's starting to build up the ghosts. A dozen ghosts on the field. They're not bad against Zerglings, and they're even better against lurkers. Ghosts are not light units, which means they don't take any extra damage from banelings. In fact, it takes 6 to 7 banelings, depending on the upgrades, to kill a single ghost. So it can be very difficult to deal with them if you don't have overwhelming numbers. Fusion core on the way. Another bio army headed north. Oh no, that Widowmine. Big hit. Forces a pickup on the rest. Nydus goes through. Nydus to just block the base. Why not? The lurkers with it. Widowmine out in front. Just trying to dart through. Parasitic bomb. EMP a bit too late. Nydus in the main base now as well. Taken out by the reinforcing marauders and ghosts. But another Nydus, and the lurkers are popping up, but there's a turret right there. He's just committing. He's throwing the lurkers into the fray. And the bio army is not enough. He tripled down. And the lurkers, there's no response directly to them. The fusion core is vulnerable. The armory, he's actually working on +3 plating. Wow. And the ghosts finally come up to try to clean this up. The tactical escape Nydus. But banelings closing in. Hydras and lings. Clem struggling to maintain 200 supply, whereas Reynor has 2,500, 2,000 in the bank. So Reynor is the one banking up and continually hammering Clem's bases, whereas Clem is just struggling to stay afloat here on Oceanborn. Wow. Snipes all of the Overseers, and he does have Cloak finishing. Not the Banshee flavor, but instead the Ghost one. But the Planetary goes down. Banelings close in, but the Ghosts are holding strong. Line up some shots on the Hydras on the way out. Able to turn that supply gap around. But losing the base, and now lurkers on the Planetary. Ghosts looking for more shots. Take out another lurker. But a Nydus is blocking the base from landing again. Yes, of course he had another command center. Reynor is rebuilding. 2 Infestors on the way. He has to deal with the Ghosts. It's just simply required. The Lings and Banes are not enough. He needs Fungals. He needs to hold those Ghosts down so we can actually rip them apart. Because the way it's going right now is Clem clawing his way back into it with those high-powered rifles. Oh, actually gets a bit disjointed. Now the Hydras are closing in. An awkward fight. A Nydus at the natural. Zerglings overrunning some of the Widowmines, but there's no detection to clean them up. Reynor still maintaining the bank and the supply as Clem's struggling to max out. He has a dangerous army, but he's just not retaining the momentum. The Widowmines aren't doing enough. The Ghosts aren't able to concentrate their efforts as Reynor is everywhere. Clem has not been able to really fortify these bases. He has a fortress, but you don't have the siege tanks, you don't have the double command centers, you don't have the Ghosts sitting there waiting for their opportunity. I don't think he has Liberator range. The Banelings are closing in. He's at the natural. And the Liberators are able to zone out for now, but he's able to rip apart 2 more Ghosts on the way, though the snipes will hit him on the way out. SCV, guys! Hello? Hello? This is a weird non-aggression pack there, but there was nothing in the Nydus. I don't think he was even expecting it to be successful. But unfortunately for Reynor, there's still a dozen Ghosts on the field. He's lost 8,000 more resources, including 1,500 more gas. He was able to kill some of the infrastructure. He was able to remove many of the SCVs. He's knocked out a couple bases. But Clem now has the army. He's got the Liberators, he's got the Ghosts, and he has plenty of command centers to work with. So Reynor either needs to focus on becoming much more cost-effective than he is right now, or he needs to kill Clem. in the very near future, because it's getting harder and harder to see a future where Reynor ends up with money to perpetuate this battle. Clem just won't die. Widow Mines being drawn out. Beautiful fungal. I don't even know where the infestor was. But either way, he catches the army out. Parasitic Bomb doing terrible, terrible damage. Zerglings thinned out by the Widow Mines, but not nearly enough. Flooding over everything. He takes out the Liberators. They're trying to turn around, but he abandons the base entirely. With it, dozens of bio army supply. The Liberators taken down. That command center obliterated. Trying to reinforce with a few more units, but the medevacs are already badly bruised and nearly dead. The ones that did survive, the ones that didn't are obviously dead. That was a dumb sentence, but a few drones go down to the Liberators. Clem keeping the pressure on. The Liberators take a surprising amount of APM to deal with. So even Reynor with hundreds, averaging 630 to Clem's 500. Over 1,100 APM in this game. But, oh no! GG! Putting the GG in fungal. Reynor gets him. He's barely able to break through, even before those attack upgrades, but that is exactly what he needed. That sort of decisive late-game Zerg. The double upgrade lurkers into just an overwhelming amount of Hydroling Bane. Nydus is absolutely everywhere. And finally, he catches him, pins him up against the side, and rips him apart. And that sends us to Game 5. Reynor able to actually win a straight-up late game against Clem. Though it looked dicey, and it was starting to come apart, Reynor's able to find the killing blow before Clem can finish off that ridiculously effective army. So, we head to Game 5 of this just exhausting series. He's on the right side of the map, which will always be the one where the add-ons are protected, just because we never, while the Terrans invented the technology to switch out the add-ons, they never invented the technology to put them on another side of the barracks, so, or the factory, or what have you. So, one of the few things. Same goes for the larva for Zerg. Not as meaningful, I think, as the add-ons, obviously, but it's more of a ZVZ thing, when the larva always spawns to the south of the hatch, or the relative south. So, if your larva, and your queens as well, if they spawn on the outside more exposed, especially with things like Zerglings, that can put you in a more vulnerable position compared to, obviously, the other side of things. This rarely factors in, but it's, at this level, it'd be a little silly to discount even any tiny advantage. So the Reapers are the choice. Reaches for him again. They looked quite effective on Crimson Court. In fact, they looked downright abusive. Reynor couldn't get anything going. And even when he took one step forward and then had to scramble half a dozen steps back. Just never got any progress. Walks up and snipes off the Zergling. Oh, jet packs up, but you got the idea. Two queens at a time. Not bothering with a super early third, but instead, just trying to make sure he has Zergling speed. I think that's a good precaution. No, Brenda! No! Oh, Brenda! The Frenchman isolates and guillotines the queen with his revolutionary tactics. Just like his metaphorical father before him, Beyond, Clem doing his absolute best to get the Reaper nerfed again. Well, the Zerglings may be able to get this around. Dodges back before they can get their claws on him. But gets isolated with the grenade. And gets another one! The Zerglings get revenge for the Queen. But Outlook, losing a Queen and having your third base delayed so dramatically is already... It was already a win. When that Queen died, that was a win. Even if those Reapers committed Sudoku right afterwards, then it still would have been a win.
Hell, it's about time.
Is that a third command? Yeah, third command center on the way. The medevacs are going to be the choice behind because, no, of course they are. Medevacs, Marines, and Stim. Another build. Another Beyond build. But these micro and Beyond charted the course. The world champion of 2016 with Reaper builds and Marine micro. Beating Dark. One of the best series in StarCraft 2 history as well. Honestly, I'm kind of reminded of it here with Clem clearly having the advantage in an even money late game, but Reynor still the aggressive and somewhat unpredictable Zerg, much like Dark against Beyond in that series. Now, obviously, you know how it ended, but Reynor still has the shot here to turn it around, and even Clem can't surmount that sort of army supply advantage. Getting that level of map control. It's going to come down to this double draw. Can he kill off the Queens, delay a fourth, or does he get shut down, shot down, and knocked off the map? That will define how the next few minutes of this game go. Slurps up the Marines into the main. Reynor already moving in. There isn't a spore crawler yet, but the zoning spore is nearly completed. The Queens poking at the medevacs. And oh my, the battle lines are drawn. The Queens on one side, the Marines on the other. So the Marines don't have any upgrades, which means the Queens are quite tanky with their base armor. Once they get +1, that's when they can really start sniping things off, because usually the Zerg upgrades lag behind. And Marines fire ridiculously quickly, and somehow even more when they take their drugs. You're like, well, why are they firing semi-auto? Yeah, with the APM of Clem now. Some of the Marines get caught left behind and killed. And so far, Reynor doing a great job of zoning out the drops without cutting into his economy. He has 63 drones and counting. The fourth base is on the way on the other side. The creep spread he's working it out there. So far, so good. And even money mid-game so far. Just stop saying so far. All right. So short. No, just... No. Burrow. Wow, Burrow. That early. So clearly thinking about baneling mines. He hasn't used them at all throughout this match, but looking for an opportunity here. There is a siege tank on the high ground. The Marine splits. I don't know if those banelings will be able to make it. Just targeting the base. More banelings coming in. 7 SCVs dead to the counter banes. A decent haul, but definitely could have been better. No anti-air to deal with this. 63 Zerglings on the field. And counting. 10 more drones in production, but... Oh no! Okay, he didn't get the target fire on the Baneling Clump. Very important there for Reynor. He can't afford to be losing his Banelings now. He needs to keep as many as possible alive because he wants as much gas in the bank as possible as we go up towards Hive Tech. Lurkers are not cheap. Vipers are not cheap. Hive itself isn't very cheap. He has a lot of gas he needs to invest, so he can't afford to be taking losses early. Burrow is done. Going through the rocks. Did he just use Banelings on the rocks? I choose to believe he didn't. And only 6 Zerglings have died. Looking for a huge surround. 1-1 is 12 seconds out. Reynor's waiting for it. He wants to crush this. Clem doesn't actually know. He knows something about that counterattack. And here we go. Zerglings on both sides. Some of the army caught on the run. The tank's taken down. Not able to target fire the banelings. And wow, both sides controlling this so well. But the baneling mines, he laid them down and knocks out a bunch of the Marines. It wasn't a huge hit, but it was enough to undercut the momentum of this push. A big connection that will clear a bit of extra space up towards Hive Tech. Reynor trying to keep it together. Clem does not have that 4th command center yet. He's laying on the aggression with the M&M composition. Marines, mines, and medevacs so far. One Marine gets caught up against the corner. Coming in from the left and the right. Oh my, retargeting, recalculating. The Widow mines end up getting huge connections. Looking at the Baneling mines saying, look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power. Queen's chasing down the medevacs. Reynor in a precarious position right now, especially with the 2-2 upgrades coming online momentarily. That's when Clem is going to be so dangerous. Well before Reynor has any of his Hive tech. He just finished the Hive, but he's spending every drop of gas on the Banelings, and some of them paying off. He's able to make the connections, but the Marines on the edge of the creep, stepping off it. The splits are amazing. The target fire is great. And the Baneling count is dwindling, but 10 more drones on the way. Really? 12 more drones on the way? Reynor, you have 82 drones. 15 more drones! Just here to spite me. That is a ridiculous and just untenable amount of greed. He desperately needs Zerglings right now. He has no larva. More Banelings coming in. 97 drones is too many. No adrenal glands on the way. No Hive tech. Clem has 2-2 done. He has about the most efficient army you can get at this stage. Huge Zergling counterattack on the 4th base. The planetary is going to complete mid-fight, and it's enough to drive the Zerglings away. But Clem is scrambling back. Reynor took a massive risk in investing in all of those drones, and it still hasn't quite paid off, but the counterattack bought him even more space. He still hasn't invested in any Hive tech. He got the Hive done. The Widow mines are recharging. Where are the Overseers? Oh no, just tanking the hits with the Queens. But here comes Clem, gonna take advantage of it. And another hit knocks out a Queen. The Overseer too late to the party it never wanted to be invited to. Queens, Banelings trying to roll in. Where are the reinforcements? Not for Clem, for Reynor, but another wave. +2 Carapace done, but Reynor has nothing else in production upgrade-wise. Clem's working on 3-3. The window to do critical damage to Clem is closing. Every medevac driven out or taken down buys a little more space, but Clem is not. The difference is, while they're fighting evenly on the field, the production tab tells the real story. The production tab shows that Clem is building up all that extra infrastructure, those upgrades. The Widow mines will burrow. He doesn't have drilling claws. Does he not have a second factory? He does, but he hasn't gotten drilling claws yet. The Banelings are crashing in. The Queens are able to take down several more of the medevacs, but then the Queens are potentially caught off the creep. Neither player thinks they can actually win that particular fight. Widow mines connect, but the Liberators, he's going to go past the Liberators and drop on the other side. And are you kidding me? Do the hokey pokey and drop them all about. That's the Terran versus Zerg. Oh my. Na, 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 na. And the drops will continue. Reynor up 20 supply. He's finally getting adrenal glands. He's working on Hydra speed. Another Queen taken out. Reynor drives back the attack, but at what cost? Clem is down 30 supply. He's lost so many Marines throughout this. In fact, it's a 4,000 resource gap in units lost, but 3-3 is about to complete. If Reynor was able to keep up on the upgrades throughout all this, there's 10 Queens on the field, 120 Zerglings underneath. Reynor starting to bank money. The Widow mines really cutting into that Zergling count, but not enough. The Liberators been cushioning the Hydras, but they're barely enough. Several of them taken down. Another drop over to the left flank. Clem grinds his way through whatever was there. No Banelings means that Dislodging this is incredibly difficult. The Hydra's moving in. Clem sending out another attack to the right flank. And the ghosts have joined with the army. The ghosts have arrived. But Clem is still not maxed out. Reynor about to finish Adrenal Glands. He got it as soon as he had a little bit of space to work with. And that could make all the difference in these just shoestring fights. The Zerglings overrunning, and there's not that many Marines behind us. Finally finding space for the upgrades. Reynor driving it back, and now 25 supply in favor of the Italian Stallion. But another drop at the 12 o'clock. More drops than the newest Skrillex album right now as the base is always vulnerable. The medevacs to the left. Wait, I think that's Select All Army on that one. The Zerglings right-clicked on it. The creep is still okay, as Reynor has actively been replacing it. Thaddeus, the accidental cyclone, joins the production tab. An Infestor on the way, a fusion core in production, and Reynor, against all odds and my expectations, has survived. And so far, has done a very good job of it. He's maxed out. He's held on to all of his key bases. He's going to lose one over to the left flank, but does still have money in the bank. At the drop in the back. As Zerglings trying to overrun. Micros back the Overseer. Make sure he still has it. More Banelings crashing through. And those siege tanks, those two Cyclones are definitely just a sign of stress. He misclicked those Cyclones. There's no way he thought Cyclones were the play at this stage. Another drop. And two Liberators with a Venn diagram of pain and suffering. He can't actually mine from this base. Reynor, though, able to drive back yet another army. I must remind you at this point, the game is played by a single player on each side and not 5 different players down 3 different lanes. Medevacs cleaned up. Their payload's gone. He gets another hatch. The Reynor is just keeping the pressure on. And he's gonna finish the upgrades. But that Liberator! Queen died. A single Liberator. Just anchoring down the left side of the map. But Clem maxed out on upgrades a while ago. And only now is Reynor catching up. This is actually a good thing for Reynor as he's catching up to the max upgrades that Clem can get. The fight should be easier. But this single Liberator, not the one that just got picked up by the Hydras, but the one that's now at the natural. He's down to 74 drones. The thing is, Clem is still fighting on Reynor's side of the map. Reynor trying to change that. More snipes, gets the Overseer. And that means no clearing up the Widow Mines. Is there cloak? No cloak for the Ghost. But Clem keeps driving Reynor. Oh no, another Liberator. He keeps driving Reynor back. The upgrades for both sides are so mediocre. Just 3/3 infantry weapons and armor, and +2 melee and +3 carapace for Reynor. That shows you how much pressure they've been under on both sides. What a game. And Reynor finds a counterattack. There's no planetary at the third base here. I don't think there even is a lurker den. No lurkers. Just Hydras, Lings, and Banes. But the Ghost Ball needs a few Banelings in front of it. He's scampering back across the map, but the Hydras have a long way to go. And Widow Mines dotting the field like the most dangerous and unhappy breadcrumbs. 15 SCVs dead, but the drones are vulnerable here. A fungal comes out and mildly inconveniences the Ghost. But Reynor, he committed too many forces to the wrong side of the map, and now he doesn't have remotely enough back at home to defend. Clem opens up a 30 supply lead. The Hydras will be gunned down. There's no more resources in the bank, and that's it. In one of the most high-powered games I've ever seen, 60,000 resources lost in 17 minutes. Nearly 4,000 per minute. Just mining that many resources per minute is difficult in this game. That's like 3 bases fully mining lost every minute of the game. But the problem is, look at the minimap. Clem, despite being driven back, and part of the reason he kept losing so much is he was being so aggressive. But he kept Reynor busy while he expanded to a 4th, and then a 5th, and a 6th. Oh my god. My ability to enunciate, commentate, and, well, elucidate as well is, now, articulate, though, is fine. Is it, though? Anyways, we're off track, but Clem's certainly on it. What a game, but it's so hard to stop Clem once he has that economy. Reynor pressured the 4th base on Oceanborn. He was able to keep Clem busy, and he never had a stable economy. But once that war machine gets up and running, I don't know if anyone can stop him. God, he's so good. Reynor just the speed to put up a great fight, but not quite enough to overcome. A full 5-game series. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it made your day just a little bit better. And if you got the means of motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But they are liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. If you want to check out the streams and more content, you can check out the second channel, Winter Gaming TV. You made it this far. So obviously, well, hopefully, obviously, you don't hate the sound of my voice. Shout out to my deaf viewers, as you have to. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill. Jimmy, edit that last bit. It was so cringe, bro. I don't...